Kia ora everyone, I'm Monica and I've made this video clip as a different way of engaging with you as we talk about critical reflection and hopefully be able to support you in your understandings of this. As you'll be aware, this week our class is based on reflective writing, and this is a really important part of your PIP3 course. So I thought, right, we'll try something a little bit new, a bit different, and hopefully you'll find this really useful. Okay, so this week we're talking about reflective writing, and this is important for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because it forms a core part of your assessment this year, both in terms of your assignments, but also while you're out on practicum. Obviously you don't have your prac books yet, but one of the tasks requires you to reflect on your progress of the goals that you'll be setting yourself for while you're on prac, as well as reflecting on your teaching practice for your 8 days of full responsibility. So there's that aspect of it, as well as one of your assessment tasks for this paper is focused on critically reflecting on 3 of the readings from this study guide. So that's the assessment aspect of it and why it's important in terms of this course, but actually the most important part is the fact that as soon-to-be teachers, you will be required to be reflecting critically on your practice, both in terms of your thinking, but also that some of that is going to need to be written down and documented for the teacher registration process. So this isn't just something we get you to do in class just for the sake of it, or we bang on about it to be difficult. We're actually really making sure that we are supporting you in the best way that we can for your journey after you leave Massey and go out into the world of teaching, and that being able to reflect is a really important part of what comes next for you. Being able to reflect is a skill, which means that it takes time and practice and getting it wrong in order to be able to develop those skills. Certainly I know for me it took a really long time. I still don't think I'm perfect at it at all, but I know an awful lot more about reflection now than I did when I first started. So I'd like to share some of that with you in the hope that it can help you. I guess maybe if we briefly explore the words critical reflection and break down that idea that being critical about something isn't necessarily about being negative about it. It's about looking at it through a critical lens, through more than one set of eyes or one set of ideas. So it's about asking questions, digging a bit deeper, not just taking things for granted. Reflection is about looking at ourselves, looking at ourselves in a mirror. And the core part of that is that reflection becomes about action. It's about us doing something next. As a result of our critical reflection, we're going to do something differently. So if you can try and keep those things in mind, both as you're reading, but also when you're reflecting on your own practice, that will be really helpful. What I thought I'd do is to work through the Smythe model. Now this week your reading is written by Mary Liz Broadley and Tara Fagan, and it's focused on reflection, and in there are 3 models. What I've done is I've chosen one of those models, partly because it's the one I'm most familiar with and use myself, but also because it does seem to be the one that most students choose to use, so we'll go with that. Now Smythe breaks reflection down into 4 parts, the first part being describe. So what you need to do in just a couple of sentences, just a few lines, is describe very briefly what's happening. So if it's an aspect of your practice or something you've seen happening, or if it's a reading, you very briefly describe that. Then it moves on to inform. I like to think about inform as being, okay, what tells me, what informs me that this is something I need to pay attention to? Why is it important? So I would expect to see some links to literature or theory here. So if we were talking about a reading, say the Colin Gibbs reading from the first week of this class, looking at, okay, Colin Gibbs has talked about all these ideas around teacher presence and teacher and identity. What else tells me, or what else informs me that this is something important, something that I need to pay attention to and to think about? So you'd write a little bit more about that. Then you'd move into confront. Now confront is about confronting or looking at your own ideas and beliefs and recognizing where they come from. So those ideas and beliefs could come from something you've read, something you've seen, something you've experienced yourself. Often these might be readings you've had here at Massey, or an experience that's happened in the classroom, or it might be your own upbringing or your experiences as a child, something that's made you feel comfortable or uncomfortable. So you have to confront your beliefs and figure out where they come from and what they're based on. Then comes the final step, and this is where I would expect to see most of the writing, is the reconstruct. What am I going to do differently in the future? So this is where the action part comes together, and you start reconstructing or rethinking about, okay, what am I going to do differently as a result of my thinking? Whether it be thinking about your practice or thinking about a reading. Hopefully that's clarified things up for you a little bit. Reflective writing, critical reflection, reflective thinking, whatever you want to call it, is about thinking deeply about what you do, why you do it the way you do it, and how you're going to do it better in the future. It's incredibly personal, and I think that's sometimes what trips people up. You have to dig down and think about, okay, what do I believe? And that means that I would expect to see I statements in your reflections. You know, it's often we're saying, don't use I statements, don't use I statements. In this case, that's actually what we want to see. So anyway, I hope this clip has helped you. Any feedback would be much appreciated. Feel free to email me and let me know. And of course, the link will stay here in this week the whole way through, and you can watch that anytime you need to. Thanks very much. Bye.